Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Air Kitty. Alright, so I wanted to make a video, and I don't know when my channel basically became Rugrats news. I don't know why we're going in this direction, but we are. We are. So look forward to this. Um, so wanted to cover a couple big topics that I had been finding out throughout the week and stuff like that about Rugrats and the revival of it. So, first order of business, if you didn't see it in the description of the Rugrats studio video, if you've been living under a rock for some reason, don't worry, I get your plight. I do too. I miss a lot of news. Um, yeah, so we finally have a release date for the Rugrats Revival show. I am so excited. It is going to be streaming on Paramount Plus on May 27th. It is very surprising though, because obviously I have a Paramount Plus account. I have rewatched the entire series of All Grown Up. I'm going back through Rugrats just because I've seen pretty much probably like the first 3 seasons already 5 or 6 times. Don't know how many times, but I know them pretty much word for word almost. Couldn't tell. I'm a big fan. Just saying. But yeah, so super glad that we finally have a release date. Surprisingly, there is no tile yet on Paramount Plus for the new revival of Rugrats. And the only reason why I mention that is because Paramount Plus, one, obviously they have their trailers and stuff like that, the reveal trailers that they posted like months ago. But they just dropped 3 videos that I just found this week. So 2 of the videos are actually little shorts. One is actually showing off the like a segment of the second episode in the first season, the barbecue story. And the second short is actually one that they've made themselves. It's not based off of really anything. It's just, their new creative idea. And I think these 2 shorts are really great for what they're trying to show off. One, they're trying to show that, they're trying to be as close to the original material as possible. Like, this isn't like, oh, they took the old audio recordings from, the episode and just did reanimation on it. No. They have the new voice actors for Dee Dee and Stu in there as well. If you watch Barbecue Story, like where Tommy is, showing all the other babies like the ball that he has, that is like that Grandpa Lou gave him. If you watch that segment of the episode and then watch the short, because that's the segment of the short that they're showing, you can tell that the audio is a little different. It's not exactly the same. It doesn't have exactly the same pitches and tones and stuff like that. But it's close. Obviously, it is still E.G. Daily who is still voicing Tommy, and all the other actors still voicing their respective roles. It was very faithful, very, very faithful to the original material, and I was very glad about that. And the new short, which I think was called Night Howl, and it was a little short about Tommy and Spike basically sneaking out of Tommy's room and sneaking into the backyard and howling at the moon. It was super cute. A lot of people had mentioned in that short that Spike seems a lot smarter, like almost human cognizant, I guess, would probably be the right term for it, hopefully. Maybe. He thinks like a human instead of a dog, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And it's funny because like you got those little tidbits here and there in the original series, but ultimately he still, was a dog. He just was very close with Tommy in a sense, because you know how like some animals, they, have children, like the family will have children or something like that, and the animals, the pets, they feel very protective of them, like the child is their young in a sense. In a way, Spike kind of denoted that in the original series. So you still see that very much in the short, and I love that. But it is kind of funny because Spike does seem a little bit more coherent and like almost like has like human intelligence in a sense during the short, which it's a little jarring for me, obviously, coming from the original and going to the revival. But I like it. I do like that change. Just because it gives Spike a little bit more character. So then the third video that they dropped, and this is probably the one that everyone's been kind of gushing about the most, and I love this. So they dropped the new theme song, or rather the new intro to the show. And I just got done watching it, and I love it. It's funny because I wasn't sure how to feel about it, and again, this whole experience for me with the Rugrats revival, I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, because I was just like, I don't want them to screw it up. I have a lot of faith that they're gonna do it right, but I can't be sure. Because again, like many things in the past, we've had a lot of revivals in the past, or like remasters or reboots or whatever, and like 85% of them never did the series justice. And it was very disappointing and very sad. So I didn't want this show to fall into that category, but it does seem like the, you know, producers and the directors and everybody behind this project, they absolutely are taking this with like the utmost care and like cautions for that. And I really respect that about them. On like thank you guys so much for putting so much care and love and respect into this series. Not just for us fans, but also the newer fans or the hopeful potential newer fans. But yeah, so it plays out almost like the original intro to Rugrats, not the, you know, post Kimmy intro, not that one, but the original from like season 1, 2, and 3 kind of idea. The one that we're all very familiar with. And it's funny because they do this really well, I feel like, with all three of their videos that they've shown. And it kind of makes me feel hopeful about the actual episode that they're going to put out. That, you know, they're keeping it close to the original with like sound effects, you know, voices, personalities, and just like the overall feel of it, as well as like, you know, the sounds and stuff like that. Like not necessarily sound effects, but I'm talking about like, you know, like how the babies talk and, you know, their grammatical mistakes that they'll make or something like that, or like how they say things. It's just such a breath of fresh air. But of course, this is taking place in modern time. It's not taking place in the 90s like the original was. This is taking place in obviously 2021. So like you'll see things like obviously something that I guess a lot of people didn't notice when a photo had dropped on Vanity, I guess. I saw this and I thought about mentioning it, but I was like, no, no, I'll wait. But Grandpa Lou now has a braid. He doesn't have any hair up here, but he's got a lot of hair down here. I can't wait for the episode where that comes undone and you just see these flowing locks. And I want to see Grandpa Lou, you know, be the ladies' man like he was in the original series. Just like cut that ponytails like elastic and watch those flowing locks go, and all the old ladies just gush over him. I need that episode. So that was one of the changes. He now does yoga too, which I thought was kind of funny. He reminds me a little bit of a hippie. I feel kind of bad because I don't know how to describe Grandpa Lou. He seems like one of those people that takes like go green to the extreme. I don't know if like you know those people. They take go green to the extreme, like to the point where their poop is even green. Like the concerning amount of green in a sense. He seems like one of those people, but on top of it in the original series, they did kind of paint him as being somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. Like with the outside space like episode and stuff like that, as well as in the video game. You know, he's reading like periodicals about how like aliens come up and, you know, suck you out of bed and up to the mothership and stuff like that. So I could imagine that they're gonna play more on that in a sense, which I think will be kind of fun. So I am kind of interested to see how Grandpa Lou gets played out because he seemed very conservative to me. I felt like, you know, just very like kind of traditional. I wouldn't necessarily say stuck in his time, but you know, he was kind of reluctant to change in some aspects. with his life. So I'm kind of wondering how they're gonna go about doing that with this episode or this series. I will leave a link in the description for all 3 of those videos. Obviously, I highly recommend that you go watch them, and, I hope to God that, there will be as many people watching the series when it launches on May 27th. I definitely wanna, hear people's reactions to them or see their reactions. I will definitely be looking for people's reactions on the series because obviously the day that launches, I mean, it's going up on my calendar. It's pretty much on my calendar. I just haven't written it there. Lose my I'm starting to talk like the babies now. What the heck? I'm watching too much Rugrats. I haven't put it on my calendar yet, but it will be going up that the show will be launching May 27th. And I don't know what day that is, like what day of the week that is, but if that's on one of my work days, I am absolutely watching that after work. Basically, to kind of celebrate the fact that these 3 videos have dropped, and as well as the release date of the show and everything, I also wanted to do. Wow, didn't mean to spit there, my bad. I also wanted to do something a little differently, something I had been kind of planning, but I wasn't sure when I'd do it. So, when I was on Paramount Plus and I was watching Rugrats and everything like that, it was funny because I had noticed something on there that wasn't there prior, and I think it just recently got put on there. So, if you have a Paramount Plus account and you go to the Rugrats page here, it's really funny because, you scroll past where you watch the episodes, where you pick your season, the related shows, and at the very bottom, there is a blog post with a quiz called Which Rugrats Character Are You? And I was kind of baffled as to why there was a quiz just right here. But you know what? I wasn't gonna question it. Like I said, I was eventually gonna do this type of video, I just wasn't sure when. Then when I saw this, I was like, alright, I think now's the time. Also, take it in. So this was the picture that actually dropped on Vanity if you didn't see it. So you have the whole cast here pretty much, or the main cast at least. I do find it very funny, and I'm wondering if they're going I wonder if they're kinda gonna follow the original storyline in the sense where they are gonna introduce Susie kind of the same way that the original series did, but I doubt that they are. I think they're just gonna add Susie in, just like from, like, episode 1, which I think is a nice change of pace in a sense because obviously Susie was a big part of the Rugrats series, but she wasn't introduced until, like, maybe near the end of, like, season 1. So I really like that they're adding Susie much earlier into the episodes. But yeah, you can see, Grandpa Lou's braid right there, and you can see him doing this whole yoga stance. And, it was it was confirmed that none of the adult or the voice actors for the adults, the original voice actors, were gonna be reprising their roles or anything like that. So I was kinda sad. So I will say it was slightly jarring for me when I was watching the shorts because you hear the voice actor for Dee and you hear the voice actor for Stu, and they just sound so young. Like, they sound like they're, like, in their teens or early 20s to me, and it's so jarring because, like, obviously in the original series, they were, 30s. Like, they were in their 30s. So, it's very jarring to me because I'm so used to hearing, like, these, like, more mature voices, I suppose, from these characters, and then, like, I hear, like, these, like, younger voices for these 2 characters, and I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" But I guess in a way it does make sense because obviously, like, there are some people that would consider 30 being very old, I guess, but to me, I'm like, now that I see a bunch of YouTubers that are in their 30s, and I'm like, they look no more mature than I do. I'm like, 30 is still really young, so I would imagine like, it makes sense to me in my head now being older, I'm like, "Okay, it makes sense now that they have, like, kind of younger sounding voice actors and not people that sound like they're older in a sense. But regardless. Oh, I'm being called out, guys, okay? But so here's the quiz, and it's just which Rugrats character are you? Are you more of a Tommy, Chucky, or Angelica? It's time to find out. My guess is that I'm probably going to be more either like Angelica or Chucky. When I was younger, I feel like I was more Angelica because I was kind of bossy. But that was more so because, like Angelica, I was the oldest of my siblings, or one of the oldest ones in my friend group. So I was the one that took charge. I was the one that was responsible for everything. I was the go-to for who got in trouble because I should have known better. Anybody get flashbacks from that? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you understand my plight, because I did too. But I also think I'm going to be like Chucky in a sense, because I feel like with Chucky, I did kind of follow this progression between like where he is now to like all grown up in a sense, where like I was the voice of reason. I was super loyal to my friends. I wasn't going to I wasn't going to leave them high and dry. I was always trying to be there for them when I could. But that didn't mean, I wasn't prone to mistakes. I did kind of care about my self-image, I guess, and trying to be popular. It wasn't necessarily my most sought after thing, but I did care about it quite a bit. It's funny because I didn't actually get to my rebellious stage really until maybe up until a few years ago. I was always the goody two-shoes who always did the right thing and was responsible and didn't break out from the norm. That was me when I was younger. Middle school, high school, and everything like that, which is when I'm comparing myself to this. Yeah. So, attention 90s kids. Are you the Tommy of your friend group, or are you a sassy Angelica at heart? Our must-take personality quiz will pair you with the iconic Rugrats characters you identify with the most. Answer the 8 questions below and you'll get your results. Warning, they're eerily accurate. I highly doubt that because this is it looked like a BuzzFeed quiz to me, but you know what? Sure. And obviously just their shameless plug, which is fine for me. But I do love how they have the old Rugrats graphics for this quiz. So it's Self-Care Sunday. That's a day? There's a day dedicated to taking care of yourself? I'm usually always working on projects. I usually just call that me time. And that lasts maybe like a few hours before someone has to call me or bug me about something. Again, remember, I'm the responsible one in my family. I'm the one who everyone goes to when stuff needs to get done. So on my self-care Sunday, my me time that I get, try out a new recipe, staying at home, alone, where it's safe. Treat yourself. I'd probably say staying home, alone, where it's safe. Not so much the safety bit, because anything could happen anywhere, but more the alone thing and being at home. I'm very much an introvert. I constantly need batteries recharged by just being alone and not socializing for a good 3 hours or more. So yes, staying at home where it's safe. Oh my god, I remember this episode. This is the episode where Chucky wished he wasn't born. Rugrats was kind of dark. But you know what? It was real. You're tempted to do something you shouldn't. Oh, is it Sin Week already? Well then. That sounds like an awful idea. Abort. Sure, I'll try anything once. I do whatever the heck I want. This is one of those things that it's like on a varying degree. Tempted to have soda after I just got back from the dentist? That's not a higher risk as let's try out acid. I think overall I'm just gonna say no. And it's not necessarily because it's like, oh, I'll get my hand slapped or something like that, or, I'll be considered a bad person. It's like, no, I don't live by the idea of YOLO, you only live once. It's like, yeah, you only live once. You don't get a second chance. Don't screw up the one chance you get. I don't remember this episode. I think this is one, judging by like the art style and how it looks, I think this is further in the season or further in the series, maybe like looks like it looks like pre Kimmy possibly, maybe post Kimmy. I don't know. What is your zodiac sign? So if any of you were curious about what my zodiac sign is or when my birthday is, I'm a Cancer. Funny enough, actually, I was actually born on July 4th, which here in America is Independence Day. So, I think I got born on the best holiday possible because you know what? Everyone wants to go out and party on my birthday, so already can plan a party, no big deal. And, I get fireworks on my birthday for free pretty much. Everywhere I go. Every year. Yeah. And I get perfect weather pretty much every single year, so perfect birthday. Pick your favorite Rugrats quote. Nakey is good. Nakey is free. Nakey is nakey. Getting old is nothing but misery and woe. Why you gotta do me dirty like that? My mind is a pretty scary place. So actually, probably my favorite Rugrats quote, and it was actually more of a conversation between Drew and Stu, because you know they always have the best ones. Or I guess rather, two of my favorite kind of conversations or quotes. One of the most notable ones, which was a meme, was Stu, you know, in the kitchen. Dee Dee wakes up, goes in the kitchen, sees Stu making something, and says, Stu, what are you doing? It's 4 a.m. And Stu says, I've lost control of my life. And I'm like, I feel you, Stu. I feel you on so many levels. My other one was during the Rugrats movie, and Angelica instigates a fight between her dad and Stu by telling Stu, like, you know, like asking her dad and being like, why were you and mommy saying that Aunt Dee Dee ended up with a loser? And Stu just like so angry, he like notices the kids like crying in the background. He's like, excuse me, Stu, my tax returns are crying. And he walks away, slams the door in Drew's face, then like Drew drops off the skates inside. He goes, he's like, you can't have a tax return if you don't have any income. Adult jokes, man. It's great growing up, so I can't agree with the second one that getting old is nothing but misery and woe. Because now I get the adult jokes that are in these kid shows, and they're so clever and so hilarious a lot of times that I'm just like, chef's kiss. I didn't notice as a kid, but I noticed as an adult. It was super effective. The naked thing, there are very rare times when I am naked at all. Ever. I am rarely ever naked in my own house. You know, except for, you know, the usual times when you're naked, like, you know, taking a shower or something like that. Yeah. So naked is not always good, and naked is not free. And if I'm gonna be naked, it heck is sure ain't free. Cause this ain't cheap, okay? So I do agree with the statement, my mind is a pretty scary place though. I kind of am into that dark humor and stuff like that, so, like, I'm sure my friends could, I'm sure my friends could come up with or remember some dark humor that I came up with, and they're like, "Wow, Michaela, I would not have expected that from you." And I'm like, yep, that's where my mind went. Don't know why, that's where it went. Your favorite holiday is Kwanzaa, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Halloween. Ooh. I think that's Kwanzaa. Hanukkah. Chanukah. I don't know if I'm reading that right, but I know it's not a holiday I celebrate, unfortunately. And I super, super 10 times over apologize to people who celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, and I butchered that holiday for you. I don't think I've ever seen this spelling. I feel like I've seen both of Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and stuff like that spelled differently. So I don't know if this is, yeah, I know it sounds really, really weird, but I know it's been spelled differently for me. So yeah, one of those two. I'm just making myself out to look more like an idiot than I already am. So moving on. Valentine's Day, or we gotta be representative of everybody, seriously, because not everybody has somebody. So also known as Singles Awareness Day. Valentine's Day is one of those days like it's good if you have somebody to celebrate with, but it doesn't hold the same charm as something like Christmas or Halloween. Now, I like Christmas, I really do, but I think I'm actually gonna go with Halloween more. One, because I get to play dress up, which is like my favorite thing to do actually. And two, because I am, again, kind of into the dark stuff, like dark spooky stuff kind of idea. So yeah. Halloween is perfect for me. And I'm into that, spiritual, magical stuff. And Halloween obviously is the day for that. So we gotta go Halloween. Which yearbook superlative best describes you? I actually did not get one of these for my yearbook. I was too normal. So, most likely to become famous, best all around, best hair, most likely to most likely to succeed, most popular, most scaredy baby. Where is the goody two shoes? Most likely to stay a goody two shoes for the rest of their life. I didn't I never had the best hair. Um Though it is kind of funny because if somebody looked at me, a lot of people like when I ask like what is my best feature, they usually point out my hair because they say like it's long and princess like basically, but I don't know if that would necessarily be my thing, like best hair, because I feel like thinking back to high school and everything, I'm like, there were definitely girls that had better hair than me. There were definitely guys that probably had better hair than me. Mine was just always like this. I didn't style it that much. I didn't do anything with it, so blah, whatever. Most likely to succeed, maybe. Most popular, no. Most scared of baby, no. There were definitely people that were much more fearful than I was, much more timid, so not that. Best all around, maybe, and then most likely to become famous, absolutely not. I'm too introverted to become famous. And I'm better as like a kind of like either low fame or behind the scenes kind of person. Every single time I try to be famous in the past, I always end up on my face, like flat on my face pretty much. Uh it always flops, so we just don't try for that anymore. I think I'm actually going to go with most likely to succeed only because like again, I was the responsible one. I always held high standards for myself in a sense. So I was always on the honor roll. I believe when I was in college, my first couple of years, I always got like the uh, Magnum cum laude and stuff like that, like stuff like those awards and stuff like that. And out of the people in my immediate family, I was actually the first one to go to college. So I think most likely to succeed would be the one that would be descriptive of me. Yeah. my god. Besides Rugrats, which 90s Nickelodeon series do you love the most? Oh man. Oh, these are all some blasts from the past. Rocco's Modern Life. I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favorite. It kind of creeped me out at times. So no. Doug, I actually liked Doug, but I didn't watch it a lot. Hey Arnold, I think I actually probably watched Hey Arnold the most. Aro Monsters, again, didn't really like it. It kind of freaked me out. I think the art style of like the humans kind of freaked me out the most, so I was just like, nope, never mind. All of that, I actually didn't watch all that a lot. And Guts, I don't remember what Guts was. And the fact that it says Guts, and I'm one of those people that's actually, I'm actually afraid of anatomy in a sense. There's not an actual scientific term for it, but I'm afraid of seeing like organs and stuff like that, and like veins, anything outside or anything inside of the human body. I don't like looking at it. So I can only imagine that with a show called Guts, I'm probably not gonna like it unless it's like talking about like, like having guts, like daring people to do things, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just gonna go with Hey Arnold. Because I liked Hey Arnold. True or false? A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. What? I'm not a baby. I don't know about that. True. True, my dude. Baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. I knew it. I'm the Chuckster. Nice. You are Chucky Finster. Just like Chucky, you are introverted, sensitive, and tend to scare easily. But you aspire to be brave and outgoing like your closest friends. You are comfortable sticking with your routine, and you don't like getting into trouble. Your friends know that you are loyal and will always come through for them when it matters most. And then obviously the shameless plug. Yeah, it's even funny that they say that Chucky is introverted. Sensitive? Yes, I can see that. Tends to scare easily? Absolutely, that's Chucky. The introverted part. I never considered Chucky being an introvert. Not to say like he was necessarily extroverted, but I thought of him as kind of more like an ambivert. Like he's just somewhere in the middle. He, likes being social, but, he doesn't mind being alone either. But I love that. Guess I'll have to tell my brother that I've taken his spot. Because for the longest time, we used to call my brother Chucky because he was the one in our family that had the bright red hair, and he was always scared all the time. He always when we were kids, he would try to go downstairs in the basement. He'd be like, "I'm scared. Can you come with me?" But yeah, no, I can definitely attest to this. That I am definitely Chucky. I am very sensitive in a sense, like feelings, emotions. I'm very empathetic. To the point of like I can just look at people and just read them pretty much. I am very introverted. Well, I would say that I lean kind of more towards ambivert, but I'm still very introverted. I still like having my alone time. And when I was a kid, I did get scared very easily. But yeah, no. I will try to leave a link in the description for this quiz as well if you want to take it yourself. Obviously, you need a Paramount Plus account, but obviously there are tons of Rugrats quizzes, scattered throughout the internet. You know what? If there's any good ones, I might do them. If you want to send me any, go ahead and send me some, or I'll try and find them myself as well. But this was really fun, and I cannot wait for Rugrats to come out. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So yeah, until then, guys, bye-bye.